Yeah.
Came from the mud, I had to get up in my zone. And I ain't have a team, I had to get it on my own. The only ones I love, the ones I hit up on my phone. With nobody at the top, this how I feel when you alone. Had to get up on my self-love.
I want to give you your flowers. You know, there's so much that we can talk about and we can be here forever. And we will talk about. But like when I envisioned this platform, I envisioned something counterculture to what was out there. And I envisioned a platform where it was safe for us to tell each other we love each other, cry with each other, pray with each other. And when we leaned into that, boom, it breaks through. And then also hold each other accountable as well. But there's a way of doing that. Like it's like us in the locker room. And so I want to give you flowers because even in the midst of where football is today, you know, going into what, year 13? Mm-hmm. Like most winningest quarterback through 10 years. Like numbers, facts. Walter Payton, which is to me is the most important one. That's one of those ones that I had on my vision board. Like, yo, when I lead a league, I need that. Walter Payton Man of the Year award. All Pro, 9 Pro Bowls, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl win, right? So I want to give you your flowers from a football standpoint. But man, you're one of the best to ever do it. Also, I want to give you your flowers because I'm older than you. I'm about to turn 40.
Getting old, boy.
I know. Old, young, old. But bro, like I'm learning so much from you when it comes to being a father, being a man, right? Being a husband. Like, dog, like you are him. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to tell you, bro, like, I don't know who in your corner tells you this, and I know Sierra, I know C do it all the time, like #1 fan, y'all each other's #1 fans. But like from a man, like Zoe, watch him, my boys. You know what I mean? So I just want to give you flowers.
Well, I think one of the things that's been, appreciate that, first of all. I think one of the things that's been the coolest thing in my career is obviously winning the Super Bowl, but also being the second, you know, black quarterback to ever win. You know,
why is that important to you?
I think because, you know, for a lot of reasons. Number one is I remember my dad, my grandfather, who was president of Norfolk State for like 22 years, you know, he used to always talk about the history of the game. Legacy of the game. Who are you going to be? My dad used to always paint a picture, son. What are you going to be? You know, paint the picture for me. What is it going to sound like? Who are you going to be? What are you going to do? And if I told him a story at 8, 10 years old and it wasn't good enough, he's like, tell it again. It wasn't good enough. And so I remember like just watching the games and watching, you know, greatness and watching people before me. But I also remember too is knowing that the history of the game, there really was only one. Doug Williams did it, and really there hadn't been anybody else. And there's been some amazing quarterbacks from Randall Cunningham to Dante Culpepper to Michael Vick to Warren Moon to so many other African American quarterbacks, but nobody had ever won it. So to be able to win in a 20, 30-year period, be the first one to win in a while, was a blessing in itself. And to know that I came from Richmond, Virginia, where everybody said I was too small, wasn't going to make it, wasn't going to be this, wasn't going to be that. And then all of a sudden you get to hold the trophy with a bunch of amazing teammates and everything else, and know that you've accomplished that goal.
Right.
I think too, though, is also knowing that you're helping create and open up doors for other people. You know, that's been probably the coolest thing so far in my career as I've watched how the game's changed. When I came in the NFL, I'm thinking about the starters, the black quarterbacks that were starters. It was me, Cam Newton. Cam Newton came the year before, Colin Kaepernick, and trying to think who else. I mean, obviously Michael Vick was in the league before that, but those are the guys that were playing at the time. I may be missing one or two other people. Tyrod Taylor came in the same year as me, maybe the year before, and so it was like but there weren't that many people playing, especially at my size, my height. But now to see guys getting drafted early in the first round, first pick, to see other quarterbacks, to see guys like Patrick Mahomes being the greatest he's been, and to see guys. Obviously Jalen Hurts, C.J. Stroud, and just seeing guys develop, not just because of the color of the skin, but also because of the style of game, that the game's changed and developed because of great guys before me and me being one of them. But now the game's going to continue to evolve. And just knowing that you're in the middle of the evolution of the game is probably one of the coolest parts to me personally so far in my career. And so, obviously I got a lot more goals and a lot more dreams and a lot more things I want to accomplish in this game. But just knowing that you've been a part of history has been one of the biggest blessings of it all.
So you're right, bro. Like when you look up, it's like, man, the black quarterback is almost like the majority now, not the minority, right? What advice would you give to those that are coming in, those who just entered, like the C.J. Strouds of the world, even Jalen Hurts? You got to think about, he was just in the Super Bowl. Now they're saying he's overrated, right? Like, what advice, the best piece of advice you can give to those guys that's coming after?
I think the first thing for me, when I came in the league, there wasn't many of us. And so my mentality, how I had to prepare was a certain way. I was a third string quarterback, 75th pick overall. They had just paid Matt Flynn, and I got to go take the job.
You didn't come in with that mindset.
Come on. I had to go take the job.
Russ.
I got to go take the job.
So they just paid Matt Flynn, though. What did they give him? We might need to fact check that. Matt Flynn got, what, $40 million? What was he in Green Bay the year before? Had a little year. And
yeah, but for me, it was more so of every day being the first one there, last one to leave, just being prepared.
Second round?
Third round.
Third round. They just paid a guy. You came in to the league thinking that you can start that first year.
Yeah, because I knew that I was going to outwork. I was going to outwork the room. I had to. And I also knew I had the talent, too. It was just a height thing. There was a lot of the knock on me was just, okay, he's not tall enough, not big enough. And so, for me, it was going to be, one, I was fortunate to go into a situation with great players. Great teammates, great players, guys with edge, competitive. All of us were competitive. And they gave us our class an F grade. So me, Bobby Wagner, all F grade. They're the worst class ever. We're like, nah, we're gonna change that. We're gonna set the tone. So I just believe that I was surrounded around like-minded competitors, guys who really wanted to win, guys who were underdogs, guys who wanted to put in just as much. So it wasn't just me. I was surrounded around amazing people and great coaches too. So that was a huge benefit in itself. Then on top of that, I was like, my mentality is I'm not going to blink. And so when I got the opportunity to play in preseason 1, 2, 3, and on, it was like, go take it. When you lace up the cleats, go take it. So that was my mentality. And I think for guys that are coming in, it's the preparation that you put into it, the obsession that you put into it, the love that you put into it, and being there early, being ready to be prepared every day. And then ultimately practice at the highest level. Because it matters, it matters. It gets you prepared for the game. It makes the game easier.
When did you cross that point in your career where the game just slowed down, where, I think about like the Tom Brady's of the world, the Peyton Mannings of the world. It's like they go out there and it's like they're laughing at the defensive court and they're laughing at everybody like, oh, I saw that. I see this is coming.
Yeah.
When we think about Russell Wilson, we think about the big plays. We think about clutch. We think about the double spin. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like 2018 is when you stepped into a space where it was like, that.
Yeah, I would say that for sure. I think 2018 through 2020, really my rookie year, there was a moment that I figured out that I was ready.
What do you mean?
I was ready. Like I knew.
What does ready mean?
Like ready to me means like, I'm arriving. I'm here. I think it was two moments. Number one, we played the New England Patriots in Seattle. Tom's, top of his career, whatever, and we play them. We're down by like 2 touchdowns, or whatever. I bring us back. We throw 2 touchdowns, one to I think Braylon Edwards, and then one to Sidney Rice.
Yeah.
Game over. Bam. We win the game, and that was like a moment for me. Like obviously Tom Brady, this and that, and then. So that was my rookie year. And then I think right after that, we played you guys in Chicago. You were dominant. You were killing people. And you just were going off. And you and Sherm, I remember you and Sherm getting in a fight before the game and everything else. And I remember y'all getting into a fight, everything else. The most dominant, corner, the most dominant receiver in the game going after it. I think you had a big game and everything else. And it was
167.
Yeah.
167. I felt good because it was against the Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
And I felt like the game was over.
What happened was we go into Soldier Field, playing there, And we're down, and I'm checking plays, I'm calling plays, this and that, and as I'm checking them, Urlacher's like, yo, hey, he's passing here, he's doing it, da-da-da. And he's calling it exactly what I'm about to do. So I'm like thinking in my head, man, I gotta flip it up on him, you know, and change the play and this and that multiple times and flip it, just so he doesn't know what's going on. And so then that's when I was like, okay, man, this game, the highest level players are the smartest level players. And going against Urlacher, he's, you know, one of the best to ever do it at linebacker, you know, dominant, this and that. He's calling all stuff out. And then we were down, we come back, we had 99 yards to go. I remember Soldier Field booming, boo, you know. I had to walk out there, here we go, 99 yards. We got about a minute and 50 seconds to go. We go 99 yards, touchdown. And I'm just calling the plays, going up and down the field, boom, 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 2-minute drill. We go score. And then 25 seconds on the clock, we're like, okay, we're gonna win this. And then you make two big time catches. You jump over everybody, catch one, you catch another one, field goal, tie game, overtime. But then, so we win the coin toss. And that's when my mind said, I was like, night, time to go. And I remember it was a 3rd and 7. I rolled out left, and Urlacher's running full speed, 6'4.5" of him running full speed at me. I kind of do a little double move, get outside the edge, and I hear him go, ah! And he tears his hamstring, actually. And we had this play called Venus Twist. I hit Doug Baldwin for first down. Doug runs a sweet route, breaks out, first down. And we just keep going down the drive, and then we hit Sidney Rice on the over route, touchdown. I think he gets knocked out, touchdown, game over. And so that's where things like kind of took off, and we started winning a whole bunch of games there in Seattle then, my rookie year, and then second year, obviously go to Super Bowl, and win the Super Bowl, do that.
When did you become that? So that was when you was ready.
Yeah. So then I think so. All that happens, and then we lose. So it's like, okay, you have a decision to make. So I think the first moment was my rookie year. Then we win the Super Bowl. Okay, here we go. Then you go back to back to Super Bowl, and it doesn't go your way. Are you gonna let one play, one moment define your career? Is it gonna affect you mentally, impact you mentally? Is it gonna take you in a downward spiral? Is it gonna raise you up and elevate you? And so when we came back that season after we didn't win, didn't start off the right way. And I had to make a decision of, I'm not gonna let nothing get in the way. And so you kind of become hard-shelled, you kind of become, this mentally so locked in that you block out all this noise. You really learn how to do that. And that was key for me. Because that's when I went on a streak of, I think, 25 touchdowns in a row, got hot, and in that season, Doug was going crazy. I think, Doug had like 13, 14 touchdown catches that year. Guys were making play, and I just got on fire, and we just did it together. And then I think that's when my career I started becoming, who I believed I could be fully.
When you were talking earlier, I saw Pete Carroll. And when I study leadership, the two people that I like the most is Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll. Like, if I could put both of them together, that would be me, right? I want to know what type of relationship you have, because it was like wild to me seeing you in Seattle the next day after Pete Carroll was fired.
Yeah, it was the same day. I flew up there. I don't know, they fired him at like 2 o'clock. DK called me. He said, hey, man, Pete got fired. We're going to try to do something. I said, I'm going to be up there. He said, you want what? I said, I'm going to fly up. So I was, San Diego, fly up all the way up to Seattle.
Because it was like a little gathering. I saw that all the players came together.
Yeah, actually, Richard and I think Cam have a super cool restaurant in like downtown Bellevue, right where we used to live. And, a lot of guys were in there. And we were all just kind of kicking it, chilling. And, it meant the world to me to see Pete, because he gave...
Well, come on, this is interesting.
Yeah.
When you walked in, you got Richard Sherman there, which is interesting. And then there's also Pete Carroll. Y'all 10 years together. Like, when you walked in, like...
Well, the first person I saw, actually, when I walk in, is I see Glenna, who's Pete's wife, and she starts bawling.
Wow.
And she's just like, what are you doing here? Oh, my God, And I give her a big hug, and then I see Sherm, and Sherm's got a smile on his face. And Sherm's smiling at me, And so
I can't understand your relationship.
And so then Sherm, and then we connect, and then Pete sees me, and it was just like yesterday all over again. Like we had been there a million times, on those fourth quarter games, comebacks. It was in the locker room celebrating, and it was I just wanted to celebrate him, because I thought that he gave me so much. in the midst of everybody talking all this noise about me and Pete, like, we've always forever been connected. He was texting me, and throughout the season and everything else, and just let me know, hey, I still believe in you, this and that I keep going, this and that, and vice versa. And, we've always had a good relationship.
Right.
He was like a father figure for me. So I never understood why people were trying to tear it down, And so, to me, going back to see Pete was because of the love that was there. And I got no hate in my heart. Just love. There's love in my heart. And so seeing those guys, DK, Bob, all those guys, man, we're kicking it, having fun. The funniest part of the whole night was me and Sherm are leaving the spot together. It's me and Sherm, of all people, we're leaving together. I said, Pete, man, look what you've done, man. You brought me and Sherm together, man. We over here kicking it. Sherm and I start laughing. Pete, you really doing something, bring Sherm and I together. But, Sherm and I have such a, he was one of the greatest competitors I've ever been around. And I think he knows everything that I would do too, vice versa, for the game. And, we just loved, I think anytime you're a family, you're in a deep way, there's always stuff. But, just seeing Pete again and seeing everybody was so much fun.
I feel like the things that made you guys legendary and great, before I say this, do you think 2014, 2015 were some of the best team that we've ever seen in the NFL?
Our defense was one of the best ever, I thought.
You heard about these legendary stories. I
I
never forget this. And once I got there, I kind of understood it, but it was so counterculture to the rest of the league and different. We always check in on each other. Well, how's that Russell Wilson? Or how's Pete Carroll? Or tell me about how they work, whatever. And it's like y'all competed.
Every day.
Every day. And when I was there, Doug, we were doing one-on-ones, and we were out there, and I beat a corner on a particular route. We were going back and forth, and I end up like picking him up, shaking his hand. And then in a meeting after practice, and he's like, let me take y'all through what it is to be a Seattle Seahawks wide receiver. And they going through this whole spiel. And then he turns around, he's like, and we don't, and using his word, we don't do this. He turned around, I'm like, I'm big dog. I'm 13. Like, you check my stats. But he's like, no, we don't do that. And I'm like, it's just practice. And it was like, no, this is how we are here. And so all these stories coming out, bro, like, offense versus defense, I never really understood it until I was there. Like, and that's why I said I see Pete in you, and that's why I brought it up. Is because everything that we're talking about, all some lows or some challenges, is like, how do you stay positive? Why is positivity so important? Because that's how Pete was. Like when I was there, bro, like every day he was the same person.
What I also know too is that negativity always works 100% of the time. Like positivity definitely works, but being negative works 100% of the time. So I've always choose not to be negative. Like I'm gonna stay right here, be neutral. I'm gonna stay right here every day. And I'm positive by nature, but I'm gonna stay right here, even in the midst of the highs and the lows. And I think that, love that, we all had together and winning and all that, and Pete and I were obviously super close, through it all. And we used to always say, got them right where we want them. Fourth quarter, we got them right where we want them. And so it was, it was always a thing, a good relationship in that way.
Marshawn came on our show and he spoke so highly of you. And everything that we've seen Marshawn do over the years was always like, boom, boom, boom. Did you see what Marshawn said?
I think he was drinking that Hennessy that day. I don't know what he told me. I don't know if I don't remember him ever inviting me to a party or whatever. But I mean, man, I got so much love for Marshawn just because of, we were in the backfield, man. He had that 10 advisor. We would talk about plays, this and that, and just. He was, to me, he should be a Hall of Fame football player, man. Just what he meant to Seattle, what he meant to our team, what he meant to me. I wouldn't be as great as I am without him, watching him and observing him, and also vice versa, just how hard he worked. And I remember we played the playoff game in Washington. It was our first playoff game my rookie year, boom. And we're coming back, good game. And he takes this zone read from right to left, boom, cuts it back. I said, I got to go make the block. I take off. Go make the block, he dives. Those are the moments that you remember, so many of them. And we balled together, man. So but yeah, man, you got a lot of respect for people, man. I think also too, for me, as a player and as a man, and especially even as a black man, I just fundamentally believe that I don't ever want to talk bad about people, nor do I ever want to tear people down. I just as fundamentally don't believe in that. I believe in uplifting each other and,
Why?
and believe it. Because, it's hard enough to get to where we are. Hard enough to play in this game. It's hard enough to play long enough. It's hard enough to play at the highest level. It's hard enough to win a Super Bowl. It's hard enough to do all the things that we're doing.
So you Michelle Obama.
What you mean?
You know what she say? When they go low, you go high.
Yeah.
I be out there like, Russ, go low, bitch, go low. Go low, Russ.
Yeah, I just
Have
believe
you ever
in,
gone low in your life?
Nah, I just believe in
Bro, you got to give me one story where you going low,
man,
bro.
I don't know if I got a story going low, but I just believe in uplifting each
Michelle,
other.
moving forward.
I just believe in uplifting each other, man. Like what you've done, what you've overcome, with the things you've gone through, highs and lows. Man, that's God, man, what he's done, and it's your hard work.
But that's hard though, bro. Like that's hard. Like, and this comes with it, obviously. And it builds, those calluses that makes us, amazing husbands and fathers and businessmen and women. But bro, it's tough when, you can turn on ESPN and you hear people talking about you, or you can Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And I think that's a superpower for you as well. And there's other cats that's done it, like Tom Brady's one of those guys, Peyton Manning, that do a really good job. LeBron, he, for the most part, does a phenomenal job. Like, I feel like that's a superpower, bro. I give you flowers on that. I give you flowers, but bro, like, you gotta give me one story where you went low, bro. Come on, or do me this. Were you close over the past 3-4 years? Have you ever said, you know what, I'm about to go low?
No, I just think that, man. I fundamentally believe in people, even when we're at our lowest. We all go through stuff mentally. We all go through stuff emotionally. We all go through. But I think that God's called me and put me in this position to love, not to hate, to uplift and encourage, and to serve and to lead, even when it's easy to lead when everything's going your way.
Right.
But when it's not, do you change up? Mm-hmm. Do you not lead the same way? Do you not love the same way? Mm-hmm. And so to be in this position is the greatest gift in the world every day. And you're going to lead, and you're going to love, and you're going to give. And it's not just the position of quarterback. It's a position that every day that God's given me breath, I got to inspire somebody else, because somebody else is struggling. Somebody else is going through something that's worse. Yeah. Somebody else is going through a challenge.
It's interesting because, I'm doing this spot. We just finished a spot with like Patrick Surtain. It's called Behind the Drive. And, we'll have our moments where I ask him how things are going and check in. And this, like a couple guys, like that's one of the things that dudes say is like, yo, he's the same all the time. And I had that experience as well when I played with you. And Pete Carroll's the same way. You two are just like, hands stay steady no matter what.
I think that's also part of leadership. I think it's part of just leading, and people also knowing this is who we got. This is who he is. This is, and trusting that and knowing that. And I think sometimes it's hard for people to believe, to be honest with you. I think it's hard for people to understand that, and how can he stay there every day? But I've been through ups and downs. I've been through challenges. I've lost my dad. I've been through relationship stuff. I've been through highs and lows. I've been through holding a trophy and also not having one. I've been through the winning and the losing. I've been through all the highs and lows, and knowing that, your best days are coming. Like, it's just, you have to believe that and speak life into every situation. And so for me, much is given, much is required, and it's a commitment to that.
Bro, like, you would throw a ball. It's like, let's say we scripted play, 10 play, whatever, script. And on the last one, you'll take it and run 80, 90 yards into the end zone. Every day, it's just like, we got to have it.
We still going, B.
Nothing's changed.
No, every time. Got to. I think it's also, too, you're training yourself to score. You're training yourself to get into the end zone. You're training yourself, but you're also setting the tone for the rest of the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, throughout all and I think I've learned this in the journey. I was fortunate to see guys like Leon Washington before me, You know, he's a kick returner. He's the best, arguably one of the best kick returners of all time. I remember sitting in the hot tub with him.
Yeah, tell that story.
Yeah, so we're sitting in the hot tub, and I just got named starter. Pete tells me you're going to be the franchise quarterback. Boom, you're going to be named starter. And I get in the hot tub, and the TV's on. I turn the TV off. It's breaking news. Russell Wilson going to be boom, I turn the TV off. And I got my headphones on. It's just me and Leon. He taps him on the shoulder. And I saw this guy work every single time, every kickoff return in practice. He took it back to the house every time. And so he taps him on the shoulder. He said, hey, Three, I'm going to need you to do something. I said, what's that? He said, I'm going to need you to get, how many massages do you get a week? I said, 1. I said, okay, I'm going to need you to get at least 3. I said, 3? He said, how much do massages cost? I said, $100. He said, how much is that a week? I said, $300. I said, okay, well, we're going to get, we're going to times that by 10 weeks. Okay, well, $3,000, okay. We're going to play 20 weeks to win the Super Bowl. You going to take care of yourself for 20 weeks? How much is that going to cost you? I said, well, doing the math, about $6,000. He said, okay. That's $6,000. He said, that $6,000 for me is going to turn to $6 million. That's $6,000 for you, it's going to turn to $60 million. I said, okay, I'm going to get them.
No, it turned into 260.
Yeah,
it turned into 260.
So see, we're going to take care of your body first,
right,
which will allow you to take care of your mind. And so that was a huge thing for me to hear that from a vet. And then for me to understand that watching him go to work every day, watching guys like Sidney Rice, watching other guys, even Marshawn. I mean, he would, Marshawn was so cool when he practiced. And then he put that helmet on, and time to go step in to the crib every time. So I watched other guys do it too. And so for me, now being my 13th year, it's like year 12, I'm still going to the end zone every day.
Well, so let me go back really quickly, and then we're going to get back on track here. Why did you turn the TV off?
For me, it's a mental thing. Whenever I'm in the building, I don't, no matter if it's the highest of the high to the lowest of the low, I don't need to see it. I already know what I'm putting in. I already know what we're putting in. I already know the conditions.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for me, it's understanding that, not letting somebody else's words impact you, right, because it can change you. It can, you can start believing it, the good and the bad.
Right.
And so for me, it was more so being focused on, all right, that's what I came here to do. I already knew I was going to do it.
There was a moment last year where I'm watching the game, and I'm like, the hell? Like your arms, bro, was just like, you know what I'm saying? The definition, I'm like, that's different. And maybe in that same game, you took off running. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, I feel like that's the fastest he's ever looked.
Yeah.
Right? So that was 34. You were 34 at the time, Well, it's me. Mm-hmm. Did the GPS back it up?
Yeah.
Because you got to give me facts now.
I've hit 20, 21. I can get up there still.
You hit 21 last year? Mm-hmm. Was that the fastest?
Yes, probably some of the fastest I've run, yeah. But I feel better. I feel, what happened was last year, I got my knee cleaned up. I had to get knee surgery. And so I was dealing with it all year last year, and then it was like, okay. And so then I was like, after the season, I was
That's
like,
year 1 in Denver.
Year 1 in Denver.
Get traded from Seattle to Denver.
Yep.
And now we're in year 1.
I took a certain hit, and I was like, But I just thought it was a knee bruise. Me, I'm old school. I'm gonna play through anything, you know. And so then, I had my lat, and then I had my knee.
Don't talk to me about the lat.
Yeah.
Please don't talk to me about the lat.
What you mean?
I told your ass don't play through the lat. You tore your lat, bro. I told you don't play through it.
Yeah.
The knee, I can't.
You said. I remember you calling me. You said you need to go on IR because of the lat. I said no, I'm playing.
Right.
But
did you feel pressure because, leaving Seattle, you were there for 10 years, legendary, one of the best teams ever. We thought that you guys were going to morph into a dynasty, but it's still legendary run. You go to Denver, you sign a big contract. It's a big thing. Did you feel pressure to stay out there? Like
anybody who knows me and who's played with me knows that I play through anything. I'm gonna play. I believe that's the quarterback position. You got to be tough enough mentally, physically. You got to be out there with your guys no matter what. That's just what I believe. That's what I know. And so, I've played through stuff in Seattle and all that kind of stuff and battled and everything else. But this one was on my right shoulder, and it was. It happened, I think, in the Raiders game, the fourth game of the year. I dove first down, got the first down, and I just landed funny, and it tore my whole lat. And I was like, oh man, I may have to sit out, But I was gonna play, play through it. And I think that part of it was, you leave Seattle, come to Denver, your first year there, you want to be able to play through stuff and be there on the field because, I remember like he said, you should be sitting out. I just, for me, it wasn't an option.
Right. I think the quarterback position, there is an exception there, right? Like, you're getting paid a lot of money. It's a different responsibility. It's a totally different job. Y'all got to navigate a little differently than most guys. But, man, like, I want our guys to be smarter to where it's like understanding the business of it and understanding that if you don't produce, you could be the next Zeke. Zeke playing through a knee in Dallas his last year in Dallas. Production dips. He's done. He can't do it anymore. Now they ask him to take a pay cut. Then they cut him. And now, the rest is history. So I think we need to be smarter. We need to continue to have these type of conversations.
Yeah, I think for me, though, going to Denver, it's like I got to play through it, and I want to win.
Yeah.
That's what all I care about is winning. And, I've played through things before and won, but I never missed a game before. The first time I ever missed a game in 10 years was when I broke my finger. My finger was sitting sideways. And
that was Seattle?
Yeah, that was in Seattle. I was supposed to miss, that was in 2021. I was supposed to miss like 8 games or whatever. Came back in after the third one. But, I think that part of me is like, maybe I came back a couple games too early or whatever, but part of me is like, I'm supposed to be out here, I got to be out here. And I think, going through that first year in Denver and just things not going the way we wanted it to, but I signed up for the long term there. I want to win. I want to find a way to win, every game. That's just the mentality.
Yeah.
And then, it didn't go the way that I wanted it to, but it doesn't, wasn't going to let it affect me.
It happens. But now can we go to year 2?
Yeah.
Year 2. Y'all start off 1-5. Defense, the year before, top 5 defense. Year 2, changes, not going their way. Go from one of the best to, I'm gonna be respectful, but it wasn't good. And there was other situations, right? And it's also first year, Coach Payton implementing his philosophy and his way. So that takes time, but y'all start off 1-5. All right, boom. Game 7, y'all hit 2 Kansas City. Is it 2 Kansas City?
No,
or is Kansas City's
home.
in Denver? It's at home.
Yeah.
The Denver Broncos haven't beat the Chiefs in 8 years. Y'all beat them, but you also throw 3 TDs. Monday you get a call, or Monday you get a call right after, yo, if you don't take out the injury guarantee, we're gonna sit you the next 9 games. Like, how did we get to that moment?
After the first year, I came back, coming into the second year in off season, just I'm gonna be my best version of me, fitness-wise, mentally, everything else. And here comes Sean Payton, right? So I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a great thing. Here we go. And for me, it was looking forward to that and getting ready to rock again, and then having just one of my best years coming into it. And so obviously we started off, a little slower. The year before, as you mentioned, our defense was dominant. If we could just play halfway good on offense, we could have been really great the year 1. But we just were struggling. I was injured, and guys were injured. Bowles was left tackle, or Javante got hurt. There's a bunch of guys were getting hurt. It was just an unfortunate situation year 1. And then coming into year 2, it's like, okay, here we go, we're ready. And it just didn't go our ways. It's just, the great thing about football is such a great team sport, and it just wasn't going our way at first. And so we finally you feel like we can catch fire, even though we're 1-5.
Yeah.
We go beat Kansas City.
You know what's crazy? Sorry to interrupt you. I know fans are going to say, Brandon, stop interrupting people. I called you week 4, I believe, before this game. And you was on the massage table FaceTiming. And you said, bro, watch what happens.
It was after week 5. We also had just beat Chicago. We were down 28-7 at half, and we were in Soldier Field again. Once again, Soldier Field. We're in Soldier Field again, down 28-7 at half, and it's time to turn this thing up a little bit. And we go beat them. We come back, bang. I think the next week we lose, and then you call me after that game. And we come all the way back in Chicago. It was a great game. Cortland makes some great catches. When we come back down, Mims makes a great catch. Guys are playing some amazing football. Defense is finally really feeling like they're becoming who they really are. You know, and I think anytime you have a new system, it takes a second. And I've always gone against Vance Joseph, who I think is one of the best defensive coordinators. I told Vance at halftime, I said, hey, don't forget you're one of the best defensive coordinators I've ever gone against. And he looks at me like, I got you, 3.
What week was this?
This was in Chicago, after halftime. And so then defense steps up, makes some amazing plays, and offensively we make some huge plays, and then we just feel like, everybody's like really excited about where we're going and what can happen. I think we lose the next week, and then I think you called me after that game. And I just believe that we were on this journey. And so we beat Green Bay, Kansas City, we beat them. And as you mentioned earlier, that's when I got that call, and I was like, I'm confused what's going on. And I didn't believe it at first. I was like, this can't be real. And I got that call that, hey, we're going to bench you for the next 9 games if you don't change your injury guarantee. So for me,
but be clear here, it's not, they don't want to bench you because of play. They're saying they're benching you because they want you to take out the injury guarantee.
Yeah, they want to push back my injury guarantee and remove it for that rest of the year. So that way, if I get injured, that they don't have to pay it.
But that's why, as a player, it doesn't even make sense to do that, because you think of those Alex Smith moments, and hell, you can even go back to college, like Willis McGahee, I believe it was, at the U, one of his last games going into NFL, he tears everything in, or maybe it's Frank Gore, everything in their knee.
I didn't want to set a precedent for players to remove their injury guarantees too as well. And so it was no way I was going to do that. And so when they said that we're going to bench you, I said, all right, that's what you want to do.
Bro, that's like extortion. Like, you got the NFLPA involved, attorneys involved, like obviously.
Well, I didn't want to, but then they kept saying it all the way throughout the week. So then, my agent talked to the NFLPA. The NFLPA called me to ask, and then they talked to the NFL. The NFL was like, this is illegal. You can't do this. And so then, all the way throughout Saturday. So I was just like sitting here. I didn't know if I was going to play the following week. We had Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills the following week. So I'm like, am I going to play? Am I not? Like,
so you got Russell Wilson in his camp, and then you got the Denver Broncos. Everybody looking at each other. Who gonna make the first move? You gonna sign? You gonna take it?
No, I wasn't gonna do it.
You wasn't gonna blink?
No shot. I ain't doing that. I ain't taking my injury guarantee. But so now I'm sitting there like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. So then the whole week, and I get back on Monday. I still don't know necessarily what's gonna happen. And on that Monday, that's when I meet with Sean, and Sean's like, hey, don't forget like nothing happened. You're going to play this week against Buffalo. We got a big game against Buffalo. You got to go win on Monday Night Football. And I'm like, all right.
At this time, you're second in the AFC in TD passes, I believe. And then there's some other stats that we can throw out there, right? Because all year, everybody's looking at it like, hold on. Russell Wilson's low-key having a really good year, but people couldn't understand it because of the first year, right? So we're sitting here looking at this. You're second in the AFC in touchdowns, and you get this call. Now take me to mindset like, y'all playing this little cat and mouse game. Who's going to move first? You could potentially be benched for the next nine games. In that moment, if I'm you, I'm probably thinking, man, that's legacy. How do I bounce back from this? It's a big moment. And then Peyton say, act like nothing happened. Like, how do you get past that and then go out there and then go on double? We won't even get the double spin. Like, think about it. Was that the Buffalo game, the double spin?
The Buffalo game, yeah.
We don't get that. And then you go on a crazy run, 5 games in a row against all playoff teams. All playoff teams. How do we deal with that?
I think the first thing that, when Sean told me just forget about it and just, hey, you're going to go this week. And I'm like, does that mean I'm just going to go this week? Like, what's about the next week? So I'm thinking in my head. But at the same time, I think knowing that I still got to be a professional in the midst of it all. I got to be a pro.
You better than me. Y'all go back. Y'all put on the footage from when I was in Denver, and they talk about hitting me with conduct detrimental. About 10 balls punted over the fence. What? You better than me. Boy, you talking about be a pro. Be a pro. But go ahead. That's why you.
But I gotta be a pro. I gotta be a leader. It's about the team. It's about guys like Cortland Sutton. It's about, it's about guys like Javonte who sacrificed all offseason, putting in the work. Guys like Garrett Bowles. It's It's about the guys on defense that are balling and kind of give their all
Yeah, but
every
what
day.
about what about win? What about C? What about, future?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what about them though? When do we put ourselves first and our family first? Yeah. I'm seeing Sienna run like she's about to come in here. She just ran across. Like, that's in my mind. Go future right there. Where I'm getting emotional thinking about that, bro. Like, okay, cool, Cortland, I get that. But Cortland and Jerry and those guys ain't gonna be with us when we 45.
Yeah, so for me, it was like, man, if I gotta be prepared. That's why it does matter, because at the end of the day, your kids, how you present yourself, how you go about the tough times, not just the good times, but the tough times too, And I want to be also the father that when they see dad go through a tough moment, how does he handle it? I want my teammates to see, hey man, like, because nobody knew. Nobody knew. The only person that actually knew on the team was actually Cortland.
In that moment.
In the whole building. The only person that knew, player-wise, was Cortland at the time. A couple weeks later, I told him, I think it was after the Buffalo game, I told him, I said, bro, you see why I was so passionate? He said, what? He said, what happened? I said, and I started telling him, he's the only one that knew the whole season, really.
Until it came out.
Yeah, until, But I think that my point is that, like, man, it's about the team. It's not about me. It's about the team at this point. It's about, all right, I got to go be the best version of me. If they're going to let me play, I got to be the best version of me this week.
Yeah.
And put what I know and my feelings aside and say, hey, let's go be a pro and be the same leader. Be better than you've ever been before. And that was, you swallow that pill and you swallow what you're going through in the midst of that, but also knowing that.
Was it hard?
Yeah, it was hard.
Who did you lean on during that time?
I couldn't really go to anybody, really. It was more so C, Mark, my agent, and then really I didn't talk to anybody about it, really, because I just had to keep it internal, just knowing that, I'm going to still prepare the same way every day.
What did wifey tell you?
That you're the best. Don't forget it. And so just keep being you, keep being you, keep being you, keep being you. And so just hold your head up high. And you walk through the building and you're like, man, but it's also, it's part of the process. And so for me, boom, we go beat Green Bay, then we go beat Kansas City, then we go beat Buffalo on the road in Buffalo.
Hold on, I got to go back because, me and C got our own little relationship. Sometimes we be texting while you out there playing. And like, you seeing it? I'm like, well, I'm delayed. I'm 5 seconds behind you. She clicking. There was one moment, I think it might have been after like the third win, and she excited, and I'm like, see, after the game, don't say nothing to him. He get in the car, be like, that's what you supposed to do. She's like, that's my baby. No, you the best. You this, you that. She's like, I ain't doing that. But I'm trying to say, like, no, we about to go on this crazy run. He get in the car. That's what we supposed to do. She's like, what? I ain't doing that. Yeah. But I love that part of y'all relationship, bro. She like, no, I'm going to celebrate him. I'm going to honor him every chance I get. So that's why I asked that, because it is important as we go through these ebbs and flows of life, to be surrounded by the right people. And it's only a few, really.
Yeah. I think also, too, that's where, like, faith comes in. Knowing that, too, like, God's with me, no matter no matter how high, how low it gets, no matter what the journey is. It's like, I just trust God, man. I'm going to put the work in every day and trust God. So then we go beat Green Bay, beat Kansas City, beat Buffalo on the road, Monday Night Football. Then we come back, play Sunday Night Football. We beat the Minnesota Vikings. Mm-hmm. Then we beat Cleveland. Cleveland was one of the hottest teams in football. And we go beat them. So we win 5 games in a row. And I think that it was like, this is who we really are. Mm-hmm. This is who I really am. This is who we really are. And we believe that. And I think as you're carrying that journey and carrying that winning and get on the hot streak, everybody's believing in it and this and that. And then you have a tough moment, especially when you start 1-5, and then you go to 6-5, and then whatever, I think it was 7-5 at one point or whatever it was. It's like, okay, like this is who we are. And then you have a couple bumps in the road. Mm-hmm. And I think that's when it's like, all right. When we lost to New England, because we were down to New England. We're down to New England, by 16 with a few minutes to go, a couple minutes to go. We go 2-minute drive, we go score, and then they ended up kicking a field goal. But that's when that Wednesday, that's when he told me he was going to bench me. And I was like, man, We were just winning not too long ago. So I think the journey.
But before we even get there, so before we even get to past like, this crazy run that we would talk about, like the other side of it, what were you speaking over yourself? What were you telling yourself?
In the midst of this moment or back then?
1 and 5.
Yeah.
And then, you got Kansas City, Green Bay, Minnesota. That's when most people check out.
I think that when you have so much confidence in yourself and those around you, when you have relentless confidence in yourself and those around you, anything's possible. And so that's what I've had.
Do you think you got to be a bit delusional?
You always got to be delusional. I think part of greatness is delusional. To think about the things you want to be able to accomplish, the things that you want to be able to do, to overcome. Come from Richmond, Virginia, where, small towns, in terms of small school and everything else, to go play football, baseball. You got to be delusional. To go win a Super Bowl, got to be delusional. All the hard work, the competitiveness, to do what you're doing. I think you got 970 some catches in your career. You got to be a little delusional. You're 16th all the time. I do my research too, But you're 16th all the time. You need to come back and catch another 30. But you got to be a little delusional. You got to be obsessed. You got to love the process. You got to love the game. You got to love the studying. You got to love the hard stuff. You got to love the bumps and the bruises. You got to love the hard times just as much as the good times.
It's interesting because Tom Brady at the end, remember, he retired twice, right? Hell, he might still come back. I think it was the first time he retired, he said, the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't think I can commit to the process, like what it takes to be great. And that's why it's time to walk away. So you sitting here at 35, you say you feel the best you've ever felt, and because I've heard you talk about this, and you've been talking about this for a very long time. I think you might even said this at IMG, like how many years you wanted to play. But do you still have that obsession to do what it takes? Because we worked out earlier, bro. And just like what you said, I ain't gonna hold you, bruh. I'm sitting there like, 30 more catches. We get to this, I'm like, wherever Russ go, I'm going. I'm gonna be his tight end. I'm gonna come with third down red zone. Boy, we get to the treadmill at the end. I said, I'm gonna stay retired.
You tapped out.
Because that's the pain. You got to be able to push through that threshold every single day. And I'm like, no way. Are you still obsessed with that?
I got more fire than ever, honestly, especially over the past 2 years of what I've gone through. Whether if it's in Denver or somewhere else, I hope it's in Denver. I hope I get to finish there. I committed there. I wanted to be there. I want to be there.
Hold on. You can go back to Denver, bro?
I can go back there.
You can play with Coach Payton again?
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Payton been to 1 Super Bowl, won it. You've been to 2 Super Bowls. I mean, you sure about that?
For me, it's about winning. About winning. Over the next 5 years, I want to win 2. I want to feel the chill of that trophy again. So, I want to go back to Denver. I hope I get to go back. I'd love to go back, to be honest with you. I got amazing teammates. Like I said, guys like Cortland, guys like Tim Patrick, guys like, Garrett Bowles, and just different guys I got to play with. Javante.
Where you going to live, though, Russ? Your house is going to be sold.
My house ain't for sale. You can't
what you talking about? I go on Instagram right now to say Russell Wilson's house is for sale.
Yeah, it's not for sale. It's not on the market right now. People think that I'm out of there, but, maybe I am. But no matter what, like, I love to go back, but, I committed there. I committed to be there. I committed to win championship. I want to win more Super Bowls there. I love the city and everything else. But, you also want to be a place that wants you too. So no matter what, I know what God's got for me. I believe that. Just like I've forever believed in not just myself, but the work ethic that you put into it, the obsession, the love, man. And also you find out how to do it even better every week, every year, every day. It's a constant growth. It's a constant progression. And you also got to understand too that there's moments of success, there's moments of failure, but there's always moments of growth in that. And so not every year you're going to win, not every week you're going to win, not every time. If that was the case, it would be easy. But it's the journey that you're on. That's the part that you love. That's the part that you get obsessed with. It's the relationships, it's the battling, it's the hard days. And that's the part that I love more than ever. And so the thing that I want to do is win, man. That's all I care about.
If it ain't Denver, what we looking at? What you see?
I honestly haven't really thought about it. I'm still in Denver.
Russ, come on. You know football. Let me give you the opportunities. Let me see. Where my phone at? Can you give me my phone? Throw it. Just throw it. I see if I still got it. Bang, still got it. Might come back. All right, since you don't want to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. Let me do this right here. Let me go to my little notes. In order, you know, the odds to get Russell Wilson. Pittsburgh Steelers is 1. Las Vegas Raiders is 2. Atlanta Falcons, 3. How'd that be dope seeing y'all, UNC back in Atlanta? That'd be crazy. New England Patriots 4, Minnesota Vikings 5, Washington Commanders 6, and Tennessee Titans, Giants. I like Giants. I like that environment. Brian Daboll. Carolina Panthers, they got their guy. We're going to let him develop. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Seattle Seahawks, interesting, and the New Orleans Saints. Let's stick with the top 4. Pittsburgh Steelers, Las Vegas Raiders, Atlanta Falcons, New England Patriots.
Well, I would put Denver 1 because I'm there right now. It's just, and I think you have to have the ability to compartmentalize.
What you've shown.
Yeah. I think you have the ability to compartmentalize that. Listen, it's a business. You got to be also non-emotional about it too at the same time. You also have to know that there's ebbs and flows to it. Winning heals all wounds. To me, it's really focusing about being the best version of me, being prepared, and no matter what, you control what you can control. So my mindset right now where I am is where I am, and I'd love to be there, love to win. And that's what I came there to do, is win more Super Bowls. And so if it's not there, though, I got to go to a place that we're going to win again.
Right.
That's what matters, so.
But one of the things I've always told you, bro, is like every so often there comes a quarterback, right? Like you guys are just special, different. Comes a quarterback that makes everyone better. Just the way y'all walk in the building. Hell, shit. I'm still walking around with a gallon of water every single day. Do I not, team? He was the first person. I'm calling him, FaceTiming him. I'm in New York. I'm like, Russ, I'm trying to get there. He on FaceTime, walking through the hall, and you got this jug of this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. This jug of this gallon of water. And then you put Snyder on the phone. Like, Snyder's right here. Get it done. Every so often there comes a time where guys like you impact people like me and everybody else in the building, And so as a brother, as a friend, it's like, I feel like wherever you go, you have that ability, and hopefully they have that mindset. Even if it's staying in Denver, it's like they have that mindset, but it's like, it's really you, bro. Like you're special, and it's again, giving you your flowers. I played with 17 different quarterbacks, 17, and you were one of them. And you're different. You're him. And hopefully I can be one of those guys that, which you don't need it. I see do it all the damn day. But like, when I get an opportunity to pour into you, I'm going to pour into you because I've seen it playing with you, and I've seen it off the field as well. And I just believe it, bro. Like when you walk in the building, it's like, man, I want to play. I want to make a play for that guy. You seen it this year with Cortland. Mm-hmm. You seen it this year with Cortland. No, but for real, let's move on real quick. I want to hit 2 things before we land the plane. Sierra. Mm-hmm. How you knew she was the one, bro?
Man, I think there's a few things. Number one is, I was single sitting there, and I'm like.
And you winning when you losing.
Yeah.
We sit at 1-5. You better be good. I'm good. I got 4 babies walking around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's been amazing. I think I never forget. Right before I met C, I wrote out my 5 non-negotiables. I think in any business deal, right? Like marriage is.
It's a partnership.
You got to realize it's a partnership. It's a business deal. Not to be cold, but it's a partnership. We're going to spend the rest of our lives together. We're going to spend this. We're going to do this together. We're going to do this together. We're going to have these kids together. We're going to raise these children together. Like we're going to make decisions together. Like so, it's a partnership. And so, in any partnership, you got to have your non-negotiables. So I started writing those out. I was like, man, I'm going to write my 5 non-negotiables. 5 is the number of grace. So I said, I'm gonna write these numbers, this out. And so I said the first one was number one is I wanted a woman of faith. right? Somebody who was equally yoked and somebody who believed in Jesus and everything else the same way. Number two is I wanted a woman who was faithful, not just to me, but also faithful to everything that she's doing, you know, like to her friends, to her job, her occupation. A woman who was faithful. Number three is I wanted a woman who was independent, had her own identity. It wasn't, oh, I was Russell's wife or this or that. Like, they had their own identity, they had their own dreams. It could be a nurse, it could be to a teacher, it could be to anybody, but obviously see on stage doing a 1-2 step and leveling up and everything else. But it didn't have to be that, but it was just somebody who had their own identity, who wanted to be volunteer work, or whatever it is. Like, they wanted to have something they're dedicated to. Number four was I wanted a woman that was going to love me the way my mom loved my dad on his deathbed when he was at his lowest. My dad used to always say, son, your mom is going to be able to take care of you. And the fifth thing is that I wanted a woman who would tilt the room. When she walks in the room, all the furniture would slide her way. And because of who she is and the woman she is. And so I prayed about that. I remember, you know, me and Judah, we went to church and I prayed about that, wrote it out. I wrote actually out on a napkin at dinner as we were sitting there eating a steak dinner. I wrote it out on a napkin and we prayed over it. 3 days later, I meet C. And when I walked in the room and I saw, you know, little future, he's 9 months at the time or whatever, and he crawls in my lap, and it was like, you know, this is going to be my responsibility. God, I remember leaving that night and God saying, God saying to me, raising this child, it's going to be your responsibility. And realizing that, I prayed to God, are you sure this is what you want me to do? Say, son, this is for you.
The first night?
Yeah, the first night. It's going to be your responsibility. And
was that scary?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think scary just in the sense of, not scary, but it was more so an opportunity. Like, okay, God, this is what you want me to do. This is, you know, stepping in to raise, you know, a child with C and this and that, and realizing that, okay, God, like, I know she's the one for me, but also too, I'm going to take this responsibility as well. Like, okay, like, and I was ready for that. I was ready to, you know, I love children, as you know, I love kids and everything else, but it was like, man, to help raise a child and everything else, understanding that, okay, God, you're gonna give me this opportunity. What a gift. Even Jesus himself, like Joseph was a stepdad. I was like, okay, it wasn't biologically his. So I'm like, okay, God, you're gonna give me this opportunity to love the way that you were loved, like to love the way that you want us to love, the way, God, that you want me to. And so then, you know, it's been an amazing journey, obviously, raising 4 kids. And
yeah, y'all have 4 babies.
Yep.
I'm gonna ask the question later, like, y'all done, but damn, bro, you want more?
Of course, yeah, more.
So y'all got 4 babies right now. Might be done. What's the best piece of advice you can give us men out there on parenting? Not parenting, on being a father, right? And then also being specific. You said it, you know, at 9 months you're holding him and you're like, yo, God gave you that vision, like, yo, this is going to be your responsibility. So, like, is there a difference from, you know, how you approach being a father, stepfather? You understand?
No. I think that when you're raising children, right, and you're married and everything else and loving, it's like, you got to love every single child as if they're yours, right? That's been the greatest gift of raising Future and Sienna and Wynn and now Mora, you know, 2 months. It's like, man, God gave me that opportunity to raise them and to love them and to care for them and teach them and to love them as every day, you know, that way. And there's no difference. There's no difference in it. Yeah, I think to me it's the greatest gift, and knowing that that's the responsibility to raise these 4 beautiful children all together in this. And we all come from blended families a lot of times. We all come from different this and that, but it's to be able to be one. And that's been the best part of raising these kids with C and everything else. And just seeing Future smile, shooting hoops with Steph Curry, and seeing Sienna do her gymnastics and how much she's dedicated. I swear I think she's going to win a gold medal doing that. To see Wynn, I don't know if he's going to be Floyd Mayweather, you know, he want to box everybody, or if he's going to, you know, play shortstop for the New York Yankees. I don't know. And then Moore over here, I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what she's going to be, but her smile is just perfect. I just think, though, that the gift to be able to raise kids with C every day, knowing that you're equally yoked and also knowing that we're on this journey together, and has been one of the greatest gifts to life.
What's the one piece of advice you can give us fathers?
Yeah, I would say I think a key part of it every day, and we've all been raised differently. I was fortunate to have my dad there every day. Not always physically, because he was always working, and he had to work 2 jobs at one point. We didn't have enough money. He was trying to get me to go to private school, and he had to raise enough money to be able for me to go, or to have enough money and we didn't have hot water a lot of times, maybe no water at all. So like my dad was working 2 jobs at one point. I remember somebody coming up to my dad and like, I saw your dad working at the gas station. I was like, no, my dad, it's like my dad was, he was doing this FBI investigation. He was doing something, he ain't working. I came home, I said, Dad, you working at the gas station? He said, son, I got to pay for your school. I got to pay for the baseball bats and the gloves and the football. He would do whatever it took. And so, to me, I think fatherhood is a direct reflection of what God has done for us. It's unconditional love, to be able to love us in the midst of it all, to be able to be there for us, to be able to provide, to be able to care for us, to be able to show up every day. Not just physically, but also mentally and spiritually. I think the opportunity to be able to love and to speak life into us. My dad always spoke life into me. He always encouraged me. He always lifted me up. And so to me, I have this amazing responsibility every day with Future, with Sienna, with Wynn, now Amora, even though she can't really, I'm not sure if she can understand me yet, but it's the gift and the responsibility that God's given me to love them the way that He wants me to love them, and to raise them that way, and to show up every day. And I think our young boys need that, for us to show up. I think our young daughters, we need that. They need that for us to show up every day. Because who are they going to see down the road? I want my daughter Sienna or Amora to be able to see, man, I want to marry somebody like my dad one day.
If you don't treat me like that, then
I want my sons to know how we're supposed to love. And we're not going to be perfect, but how you're supposed to love and forgive, and to, so I think that's why you got to show up every day. And that's why you got to be there. That's why you got to be a part of it. And so it's been the best part of the journey, I think. And they get to see me take risks and challenges, and take the journey, that of excellence every day, and knowing that you're not always going to be there, but man, we're still climbing.
We're striving.
We're still climbing. Because I want them to keep climbing even when it's hard. Right. When there's obstacles in front of them, and to keep jumping, to keep going, and I think that's the key to climbing a mountain. And that's the journey I'm on right now. We're climbing. And the best part about it is that I got all the confidence in the world in it.
I want to go back to, really quickly, I want to go back to just marriage and being a husband. Doing my research, I looked in the comments, and one person said, Russell Wilson is the definition of a high-value man. You know what I'm saying? What is that? What does that look like?
In terms of marriage, or just in terms of what?
Yeah, like just being a husband, being a man. Like, paint the picture for those guys that never had that picture painted for them.
I think the first thing about marriage is that you have to have enough grace for each other, to be able to communicate, to be able to love, to be able to encourage, to also be able to understand your highs and your lows, your flaws, and appreciate that, and knowing that you're still one. You're one. And I think that's a key part to, CNI's, is knowing that we're equally yoked. Her drive and her passion, just watching her every day and the success. I mean, she's the best person on the planet on the stage, in my opinion. And so watching her and all the things that she does, and the businesswoman she is, she's got her own skincare line called OAM. She's got all this business stuff, and then she's still a mom, driving the kids to school every single day.
She go harder than you, bro.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. She go hard. I go hard, but she triple time. Yeah. But I think the thing about it is that, watching her every day, how she loves, how she forgives, how she cares, how she gives her all every day. No wonder why she's been a success ever since she was, before I ever knew her, she was, one of the largest people on the planet, and so it's just watching her success and her journey, and knowing that she's, still so young and still so vibrant and so energetic. Even after 4 kids, and we're gonna have a 5th. I'm just telling her. But the part of it though is just that, just like the drive every day And that's inspirational and inspiring to me every day.
Yeah.
You know, watching that. But more importantly to my kids, they get to see that. And as I said, that was the fourth thing on the list, the non-negotiable, right? And to see that every day, understanding that, you know, my kids know that mama's gonna do it. You know, for me to know that Miss Wilson's gonna do it, Sierra's gonna do it every single day. You know, and so that's the part that's the fun part of it. I think the challenge of marriage is to sometimes is to keep going. I think a lot of us all struggle with that, and I think, you know, nowadays, you know, I think a big part of it is that we're always on our phones. We're always, all of us, you know, we're just always constantly disconnected. So having those date nights, having those, you know, those moments where you're just together, just you two, away from the kids and all that kind of stuff, and you just get
y'all
to
religious about
that. You gotta be able to still date, even in, we're going on year 8 of marriage coming up, right? Like, you know, been together almost 10 years. So it's like, that alone is, you gotta be able to still date each other. You gotta still be able to, you know, go through that and communicate. And I think, you know, not everything's perfect along the way, you know, but it's, you know, I wanna be, you know, Sierra's parents have been married for a long time, you know, my mom and dad, although my dad was no longer here, they were married for a long time. And I wanna go, when I first met her, I told her the first day, I said, I want that old school kind of love. And we definitely have that for sure.
That's good. All right, we're gonna land the plane here. Give me her your top 3 Sierra songs.
Top 3 Sierra songs?
Yeah.
Well, I think number 1 I would say is,
If you want to go 5, you go 5, but I'm taking it easy on
number 1 I would say Ride. I love watching that video. I would say number 2, I would say Body Party.
Okay.
Because there's a moment in that song, actually I saw her smile and I was like, that's the one for me. I seen her smile in that video and I was like, she the one for me. And number 3, I'm gonna say 1-2-Step Goodies and Level Up.
I love that. I love that. What would be your number 1 lesson? One lesson you can teach everybody on leadership, what would it be?
Good question. To me, it's simple. Love despite even when others don't love you. You know, because to me, you know, you have to be able to love, not just love people, but love the passion of what you're doing every day, even when people make it hard. Loving the process, loving the drive into work, loving, you know, the challenge of marriage, loving the challenge of raising kids, loving the challenge of everybody having a camera and watching you every day, loving the challenge of just uplifting, loving the challenge of overcoming, loving the challenges of that, loving the challenge of just trying to get closer to God and just knowing that, man, God, I'm not perfect, but just loving that challenge in itself, right? Loving the challenge of, man, like at 35 years old, how am I gonna be better at 35 than I was at 25? Loving that challenge and that obsession with that. And that's where greatness comes. And so when you can be surrounded around the right people with that and speak life into that and also lead that way and love that way and knowing that my confidence is never gonna change. It's never gonna change because I put the work in every day, every single day. It's the obsession, it's the love for it. And so even through, you know, going into my 13th year, yeah, I had, you know, a year ago I had a tough year, getting my first year in Denver, but this year I felt like I was, you know, playing pretty good. I didn't, you know.
26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Yeah,
but you know, it's like,
look good.
But I still got more in me.
Yeah.
And that's the love, that's the passion, even when some people don't even believe in you all the way.
Yeah.
And that's the exciting part. That's the thrill. That's the joy.
Yeah.
That's the fire, that's the passion. That's the part I'm looking forward to.
You different, bro. You lonely? Like, do you get lonely at times? Like, I feel like greatness, you know, we talked about a little bit, you said, like, you gotta be a little bit delusional. Sometimes people don't understand you. Is it lonely for some of the top leaders?
I think leadership is lonely sometimes. I think greatness is lonely sometimes. I think, especially when you've had success and maybe it's not going exactly how everybody or you even yourself thought it was gonna go, it's like, okay. But that part of every great player, that we can even think of has gone through challenges and journeys and struggles and got injured out for a whole year, to players, not winning, to this and that. And I think all of that is part of the story, right? I mean, I came into this mentally of, I'm gonna play 20 years. I said that back in 2012, I'm gonna play 20 years, right? So I wanna play 7 more years, right? And so for me, it's like, that commitment has not changed, because I wrote that out a long time ago. It says in Habakkuk 2:2, it says, write it out plain so people can see it. I wrote it out a long time ago. I already know what's gonna happen. And so part of that though is that you gotta know that when you're climbing a mountain, you gotta know that you're gonna fall a little bit. You gotta keep going back up. And sometimes you climb one mountain. I've been fortunate to be able to climb the mountain of winning and success and holding a trophy, and then you come back down to climb the next one, to hold the next trophy, you gotta climb back up.
Let me ask you this question. Would you rather have it this way, be on this journey, or would you rather have it where you won that second Super Bowl and won a couple others and everything was just sweet?
Well, I would love to win the second one.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
But the reason why I asked that question is like, for me, think about the bigger picture and the development of who we are as men.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think
would you be thinking like this if you didn't have these challenges, like some of these challenges? Like, and let's be clear, like you're a Hall of Famer, right? Let's be clear, you have a career that, 98% of the quarterbacks that came into the NFL, which is only a few, would dream of, right? But for you, I know like your expectation is different than most.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that, in every journey, everybody's journey is a little bit different. I've been fortunate, along the journey so far. And first 10 years, having some great years, and then, had one tough year. It's like didn't go my way, and just, like I said, I was battling through injuries. But then this year, I felt like, okay, like I'm getting back on it. I'm getting back on it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm ready. And so for me, along the way, along the journey, that it's like, my goal is still the same goal. I wrote it out a long time ago. I want to win 3 to 4 Super Bowls. I still got that in front of me. And so holding that chill of the trophy again is what's on my mind.
Why do you keep saying the chill of the trophy? I've been 13 years in the NFL. I ain't been to play.
What the heck? It's got a chill to it, baby. You got to chill the trophy, bro. You felt that metal
chill of a trophy.
It's got a certain chill to it, man. It gives you chills, but it's got I think the thrill of it, the chill of it, the actual holding that trophy is a feeling.
Let's role play real quick.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say next year you hoisting that Lombardi trophy. Walk me through, like, what that looks like. I'm talking about the 3-4 days after. We doing Saturday Night Live. I know you're doing my podcast first.
Yeah, that's what you said earlier, right?
As soon as I see it. That's what I'm saying. I think it's important, right? Like, I know you're a vision guy, and it's like when you dream, you gotta see it. You know what I'm saying? Like every inch of it.
Yeah, I think part of it is, first of all, I think in this right now, where I am today, as we sit here today, is like, man, getting my mind and my body and my spirit and everything ready to go back to Denver and winning it all.
Yeah. Right?
If that's what I got to do, let's go. Let's go do it. That's what I committed to, and that's what I'm ready for. If that changes, I'll be ready wherever that is next. And so my love and my passion hasn't changed. I'm dedicated to winning again, dedicated to the process of winning again and all that. And I know what that looks like. That's the great thing about, being at 2 Super Bowls. What it looks like. The standard of excellence. The process, the long days, and you got to love that thing, man. You got to love every bit of it. The long days watching the film, the process of healing, the process of treatment, the process of every bit of it. And I've gotten better at it, smarter at it as I've gotten actually older, especially the past 2 years, especially after I got my knee cleaned up. It's like, okay, I gotta change my sleeping habits. I gotta change my dietary habits. I gotta change this. And you gotta evolve that. And as you evolve, you understand that, man, like, here we go again. And I think there's always these phases that you go through, especially 20. You want to play 20 years. There's these phases that you go through, and so for me now, I think it's really about just simply one thing. You want to do everything you can to win. The process of it, And that's really my obsession right now.
Just do one thing for me, bro.
Yeah.
Shake on it right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm shaking on it before
I'm
you.
the first sit down.
I got you.
Straight up. I'm the first sit down.
Got you.
Right?
Got
And then
you.
we gonna go low. That's the moment we gonna
So
go
silly.
low. I told y'all.
So silly.
No, but for real, let's move on real quick. I want to hit two things. So one of the things that your father used to always tell you was paint the picture, right? 8, 9, 10 years old. Where are you going to be in 25 years? Do it again. You're bigger than that, right? Paint the picture. Russell Wilson, 35. You know, want to play 7 more years. Like, paint the picture. Paint the picture for me.
Paint the picture. Next 5 years, I could hold 2 more Super Bowl trophies. That's my goal. That's my prayer. If I don't, okay, but that's what we're gonna do. That's my plan. And also knowing that there's so many variables to that, but knowing that, you know, you want to be one of the greatest winners to ever play this game, knowing that you impacted this game, you leave a legacy for this game, and you get to impact that. I think, you know, for me, I think also too, I've learned a lot in terms of leadership along the way. I think being in Seattle, starting off as a rookie, head in the playbook, just tunnel vision, and get a lot of amazing teammates around you. Like you're just going, and then you go in rookie year, and then you go second year Super Bowl, and then you lose the Super Bowl. Okay, now God, like now you got to be hard shelled. You just got to mentally keep going internally for you to overcome what you just went through, and so that becomes a certain person. And then all of a sudden, 2018, 2019, 2020, you become like, okay, I'm here. Like you said earlier, you arrive, and it's like you're balling, you're going after it. And then I break my finger, and leadership is like, okay, this is different. How do I handle this? How do I go about it? And then obviously I end up in Denver, and things, you know, you try to take exactly what you did in Seattle and put it in somewhere else, and it doesn't always go exactly the same. It doesn't always look the same and everything else. And so then you take that first year and you kind of say, you know what? It's kind of like you learn from it and you grow from it. You evolve from it. And coming into this year was about, you know what? I'm gonna try to, number one, take care of myself physically. Number one, that's the most important thing. Then number two is, in terms of that, is you're gonna lead, and even through the midst of storms, you're gonna uplift other people. And so I think now, sitting here at 35 years old and trying to play to 42, 43 years old is like, okay, whatever's next, wherever's next, and whatever that is like going into a locker room, a building, and everything else, and understanding that at 35 years old, you got so much to teach and so much to show and so much to give others. And listen, I think in a 12-year period, there hasn't been much that I haven't gone through. I've been through all the winning, been through some of the losing, not all of it.
Somebody said some of the
Some of it. And don't get used to it.
Yeah, right.
Because so many people get used to losing. Right? Winning is a habit, but losing is too. And that's not a habit I'm taking in. That's not a habit I believe in. Is losing. So winning's got to be the habit that you get so addicted to, and teaching people how to do that, giving people that, and showing the next receiver, showing the next player, showing the next guy on the O-line, DB, showing the guy what Bible study looks like on a Saturday night, and spending time with that, and just giving yourself every day to that, and being vulnerable enough to show that. And I think you learn so much from your successes, but you also got to learn from some of the failures too.
Right.
And so in the midst of that, I think is what's next is understanding that give your all to everyone else, and it serves right back to you.
Right.
And knowing that, you know what, all I really care about is just the Spirit of God being around me, man. Like I just want to be able to give that to other people, to have a kingdom mindset, to have a winning mindset, to, you know, have a mindset of what God wants and how He wants me to speak, how He wants me to lead. And then raising these kids and really trying to make sure that what's for them and their destinies and what God has given them, to make sure that it comes to fruition for them. Because my parents gave it their sacrifice. They sacrificed every single day just so I could be here, right where I am. And they went through some stuff. And I learned what my mom went through and what she was challenged on, what my dad went through and what they went through together and what they were challenged on. It wasn't perfect days. It was ugly days a lot of times. And so knowing that the ugly days is where the beauty comes. Sierra always says it's the scars that you have that that make your beauty marks. And it's so true though, is like the things that we go through are actually the things that actually become the most beautiful things. I think it's Michelangelo who says something, paraphrasing here, but he says something, I used to write on the wall. It says that, you know, if people only knew how many hours I spent, it wouldn't be that beautiful after all. What I'm on right now is this journey of winning, right? And everybody sees winning as just the hole in the trophy. No, it's the journey, it's the challenge, it's the obstacles, it's the things you got to go through and go underneath and challenge and dodge and still also know that, man, like what God's got for me is so much greater than even where I'm standing right now. Even if my feet are in the stand, it feels like you're struggling and, okay, how to get out of it, man? Like, I know what God has for me. Right. It's going to be so good. And so for me, what's next is the process of winning and the habit of winning and the habit of the obsession, the love for it. That's what I love. That's what I care about.
Right.
That's the fire, that's the passion that I got for this game. And so for me, after that's all said and done, and after the last day I get to take my cleats off, and when I, you know, say I'm done, which is 7 years or more, you say you're done with all that, you get to sit back and say, you know what? I gave my all. I gave my all, no matter what anybody's got to say. I gave my all every day. And so far, I've given my all. But I got a lot more to give. And so after it's all said and done, and my dad used to say, you know, son, it's not the day you're born, it's not the day you die, it's the hash mark in between. How you impacted people, how you impacted the community that you're in. When you go to a certain city, how do you change that city? How do you give back to the community? How do you go into a hospital room and still pray over the hospital room and speak life into it?
Yeah.
The hash mark in between. So you don't know when it's all said and done in life, but every day give your all. And that's something that we can control. That's something I can control every day. And so, man, I'm excited for the journey, man. I'm excited because I know it's just the beginning of it.
I want to say, bro, like, thank you for sitting with me. You know, you're one of those guys that never really talk. You know, so it's a true honor to be in the position I'm in for a guy like you to trust and say, you know what, I'm gonna rock with him. I can sit on his show, right? And there's been others that came before you as well. And, you know, I don't take that responsibility lightly. So I just want to say thank you.
Well, I thank you because I think the reason why I think I was open enough to do this with you is truly because you're uplifting people. You know, every day I see you, you're trying to uplift others, and through I Am Athlete and all the things that you've done and how amazing you are at what you do, but also too, obviously playing with you and, you know, knowing what you do every day in the locker room, how you go about your business and your understanding of the game, but more importantly, how you're spending time on building the next athlete, speaking life into them and building them up. And that's why, like you said, you're gonna be the next Oprah, right? Got you. Shake on it. Now, when you are the next Oprah, just make sure I get a show or something. You know what I mean? But on a serious note, though, man, like how you speak life into people, how you've dedicated your career after playing ball into others.
And this is a message to everybody in this space. Like, we don't need to create those gotcha moments, right? Like, sitting here and letting you tell your story. That's what it's on. It's like, I'm not interviewing you. I'm having a conversation with you. You tell me about this. Yeah. You know, that's it. Like, I don't need to follow traditional journalism protocol and approaches. No, I got Russell Wilson sitting with me. You trust me?
Yeah, of course.
All right, come on, get on your knee, get low, get low.
Yeah.
That's how we getting low feel like, boy. You gotta get low sometimes, boy. Get low, boy. Get low, boy. Hey, that boy, hey, Michelle Obama. You gotta get low, bitch. This how it look, bro. You gotta get low. It feel good down here. Come down here, bro.
Get down there. Boy, get your ass up.
You gotta get low.
Appreciate you, boy.
I appreciate you. I love you.
They call me Big Jack. Lost my fucking brother and that shit had me a bit sad. And now I'm chasing big cash. Niggas used to rip tags. I couldn't even stay the whole year. We used to skip class. Now all I do is get bags. I'm the one the family running to, whatever get bad. My city have a problem, first thing they tell you get jacked. If you ain't around no more, it's fuck you with your bitch ass. I was round for little cash, turn to fucking big cash. I ain't never touched a fucking woman, never snatched a purse. I'm the one that put the cape on and take her back to church. Me and Kate Westchester days, he used to pack the work. Holy flow, should probably have a choir when I rap a verse. Seemed like everything was going backwards, had to rap reverse. Niggas try and mention Jag name, but never asked me first. She done gave me easy access.